today I want to talk to you about something that's very close to me, that a lot of us grew up with, and it was a big part of our lives. So let's take a look and see what we're talking about today. Or we could talk about this, and I think that would be a little more exciting. So let's give it a go. Alright guys, so how did this get into my possession? So one day I was looking through the papers, and my dad and I were joking about this Mustang would be cool. This Mach 1, this would be cool. My dad was talking about 69 Camaro. We had a 68 at the time, a Mustang, and we were like, what Mustang do we really like? What body style do we really like? And then I was like, this is a pretty cool car. And he was like, yeah, I actually really like these cars. And I got really excited. So I was like, as a joke, I started looking at Craigslist, and I was like, there's nothing in Vancouver. Let's look at Seattle for fun. I didn't find anything in Seattle, and I was like, you know what? Let's try a little rinky-dinky town called Vancouver, Washington. And so and behold, you find this blue car sitting there with a shaker hood, and that's what got me. It was a piece of crap. The thing was busted, but the shaker hood was super cool, and I was like, I have to have that. It was super cool. It was the ugliest blue in the world. It's the ugliest blue in the world. And I got it, and I thought, I'm going to just get this thing, I'm going to drive it, it's going to be great. That was not the case. It was not in good shape. Alright, so now let's take a quick look at the car. I'm going to be pretty brief and not get too technical. So, what do we got under the hood? This is a shaker hood car originally. It's a 351 Cleveland fire breather, the Dragon, 430 over. It's got a cam and it's got roller rockers. It actually runs really, really well. I'm actually pretty happy with this engine. It's a great mid-range engine, great engine for the city. We got 355 gears in the back. And so a lot of people ask me about the color. Why this color? Calypso Coral. It's 60s, baby. It's 70s. It is what it is. It's the color. It's the flamboyancy of what that era was. So that's kind of why I went with that color. I thought it fit the car. I thought it was good for the car. That blue was disgusting, so I'm pretty happy that I didn't do that. So if you notice here, the car is a lot lower than stock. It's actually pretty close to the wheel. We got 17-inch rims, aftermarket of course, but it's sitting on TCP suspension. It's coilovers and a 4-link in the rear. It handles like a race car. It's actually really awesome. I'm really happy I made that investment because it runs awesome. I put the louvers and the wing on the back after. It did come with this originally, but it just didn't happen when I got the car. And lastly, I got a 2.5-inch exhaust on the back with these tips. These tips were era period correct, so yeah, they're actually pretty cool. I tried to kind of mix the originality and a little bit of new school with the car, just to kind of have the comforts, but also still have the feeling of what the car originally would have been like. Yeah, so that's the car. So what this car does is it brings you back to the basics. We nowadays get so much information thrown at us on a daily basis through our phones or televisions, and so be it, that we forget the small things. We forget the things that we love sometimes, or we get too busy for doing things we should be doing. This car is that. This car is the basics, the essentials. You feel the road, you feel the creakiness, you feel everything when you're in it. It's not lifeless. You can't drive this car and be on your phone. You can't drive this car and drink a coffee. This car, you feel the steering wheel, you have your alternator gauge in front of you, your oil pressure. It is fun to drive, but it is something that you need to be connected to at all times, because if you're not paying attention, it can lead to some very unfortunate circumstances. So that is why these old cars are something I think everyone should experience, because being focused on one thing is something we don't do enough anymore. Alright, so I've talked enough about the car, and I think it's time we get in and drive it. So it's kind of difficult to talk in this thing because of how loud it is, but that's the great thing about it. You get in, close the doors, just shut up and sit down. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing, because if you don't, you could end up in a huge mess. The feel of this thing, it vibrates. Of course, you know what? People are like, why do you want to drive this thing? It vibrates, it shakes, it rattles. Why do you want to drive an old car when you could drive a brand new car? And you know what? It's super simple. You got all these beautiful technologies, self-park assist, and you know, staying in your lane, autopilot. Those things are great. Don't get me wrong. I think like technology is awesome. Improving driving technology is great. But sometimes you need to take a step back, and I think this is what that car allows you to do. This brings you back to an era where you couldn't do makeup in your car while you were driving. And no offense to any ladies out there, but you shouldn't be doing it anyway. But it is a lot easier to do in a Honda Civic than it is to do in this thing. So I want to do a couple more things to this thing. I want to put some more parts on it. I want to keep working on it because it's a labor of love. I don't mind getting under this thing and working on it. It's fun for me. It's actually something for me to do, and it's like a big hobby. It's like an RC plane. It's like doing your nails. Whatever your hobbies may be, this is that for me. Getting under this car, fixing it, putting more stuff into it, and seeing what it will do when I add one thing and take away another. It's a big part of this car for me, and I think that's really important for someone who, like me, has gone through the process with the vehicle. It's never ending. It's just something that just doesn't stop. In the future, I'm really hoping that Vancouver gets a lot more car meets together, and there's a lot more people out there. I'd love to meet any of you guys. If any of you guys want to come up for a ride, or you guys want to, you know, do a cruise, I'd be happy to join you guys. It'd be really cool. I think we need to do a lot more of that and get out and get together, because back in the day, that's what it was all about. People would get together and we'd have a lot of fun. I think we should bring that back, and I think we should go back to doing more simple things instead of being on our phones all the time.